Is that the pulsating moon? Is that the sound of? Is it the sound of the universe? I can't tell. Let me see if I could dial in the sound of the universe right here, because I want to see if I can dial in the music of the spheres. Okay, so let me see if I could do this. Let me listen to myself first. I'm alone. I'm alone with my salted inner pea snack. I'm alone in the universe, and there's nothing but me. And that faint pulsating sound I'm always hearing when I just get silent, and it's me, just me, Nicholas, human, male. I think that's what it is, because I noticed certain things with me that make me male. And I'm just me in the universe, in this pink pulsating sound that I can never get rid of. Is this the sound of what's outside of me? Is it changes? It's distorted sometimes. It's weird. Like it calls me. Like messages. Like, is someone else out there? Is there anybody out there? I don't mind being alone and all. I like it here by myself. But there seems to be at times something I feel that's not fulfilled, that I'm missing, like I'm hungry. But I'm cool. I'm fine being me by myself. I just feel something. I need something else. Is there anybody out there, like, who feels what I feel? And some of the things that I think about, I can only go so far with. I wonder if there was anybody else out there who would understand, or do they think the same things? There's gotta be somebody else out there. Because how am I supposed to know or fulfill this pulsating void I have? I can't get away from. So I want to know. I need to see if someone's out there. And so I'm going to walk through the pink place, this volcanic place or whatever it is. I don't know how I came up with that word, but I think well, Nicholas, you know what that means. You're always chasing that anyway. You're always trying to walk through that shit. So anyway, so it's like, it's there. So it's just always there. Am I the only one that just thinks this? That we come out of this tunnel. And before we come out of this tunnel, this long tunnel of want that was created because of want and desire, and I move through this tunnel, I mean, I'm sure if there's anybody else out there, they also moved through the tunnel. Because what it seemed like when I was moving through this tunnel, that it felt so amazing and at the same time discomforting, because I didn't want to leave that place, and I didn't want to go through the tunnel, even though I just feel like pushed through this tunnel to what? To be alone in the world? There must be something else. Someone else? So I'm going to set out here to see if there's anyone else out there. And I want to know what happens so let's do it. Let's see who's out there. Let's see who, if we connect. Let's see if we connect. I want to know. Can you hear me? Are you like me? Do you like wonder why you're here? Like what the hell all this is about? Because where I just came from, I was pretty comfortable. And in that surrounded, warm, embryonic place where I was thinking, but I wasn't thinking. I was feeling, but I was feeling something else. I was fed, but I didn't have to feed myself. It felt so good. But I used to hear the noises and the vibrations, and I wondered where they came from. And here I am. Here I am. So, I'm going to test myself in the universe and introduce myself. I am me, myself. I was given a name, Nicolas Polymenakos. I've been given other names by the universe and within my mind. But I keep coming back to this place that who I am is not my name. I know who I am, but now that I'm here, listening and sending my message out, in this moment, I am not who I just was. And so I need to know who I am. That's if somebody's out there. And if you're out there, who are you? Not just your name. Who are you? And at this moment, I just realized that you're out there. Now who am I? And who are you now? If you hear and see me, I've been waiting for this moment to know this. I have so much to say. So much to see and so much to hear from you. Where do you come from? What do you think? Do you know why you're here? I've been waiting to run into you because do you think about the things I think about? At this moment looking at you, I didn't realize I didn't know what was going to happen once I encountered someone else. But let me tell you what I see. You don't look like me. And I don't look like you. But I feel happy. And because you do not look like me, that makes me happy. I've never seen you before. Never seen anything like you. You are amazing. How are your earlobes that way? I mean, I've never seen earlobes like that. And how is it that the shape of your eyes is different from mine? I'm astounded by your beauty. Will you talk to me? And tell me your story? Because I want to tell you mine. And maybe we could keep this going. Like, can see what it happens next. I wonder, do you have the void? Where you feel just fine and present, like you're with you? But there's something that you don't know or you can't fill, or no matter where you go, you feel like it never ends, that like it's a hunger and appetite. I've been trying to fill this, and I'm realizing, sitting here looking at you, that feeling has gone away. It's starting to go away. Is that happening to you? I want to know more about all of this. And maybe with this meet that you and I are having, that we could fill the void, your void, and I could fill mine. Because I just don't know how to do it. So what is your name? Palmer Paints. I like that name. I've never heard of that before. And House of Twigs. Interesting. Gemini rising. I've heard about that kind of thing. Jessica. I like the way that name sounds. KP1231? Well, that's a unique representation of who you are. Darlene. Greetings. Esmeralda. Huh. That has a certain flow to it. Get, love, give, live. Huh. I kind of see where you're coming from. Rue frog. Rue frog. Well, looks like we're having dinner together. Joe G. Good to see you and meet you. You're like fireworks going off in front of me. And Angela? Hello, back to you. Well, you have an interesting tail, Scorpio Muse. Okay, let's do the sparkle thing. Sand Grape Thomas. Hello. K. Michelle. You're a Libra? That's interesting. I was thinking about Libras before I entered this space. Maybe you and I have something to connect about with this whole Libra thing. Steffi G's re-evolution. So you've done this before. Mercury ascending. I just met someone else called Gemini rising. You two might have something in common. Ryan Kiesling. What synth is that? What do you mean? Are you talking about the noises of the universe? Anahira M. Green. Do you have green eyes? CC99. Collateral hearts. Valen Preska. 2 hearts. Sunbeam Network. Spread your light outward. Nazarene. Hello. Jagger Waters, are you blushing? Maximum Rising, I think there's 2 other people here that you could rise with. And so here we are. I looked in the sky last night and it was full. That moon out there was full. And I smiled. I smiled because I knew what was going on. Blessings to you, Leanne Patterson. Azure B eclipse energy buzzing around. Amandita, it's happening to you, which means it's happening to me. And Nadia hello, Mandy Bailey. Good to meet you here. I've been wondering where you all have been. And I think I found you. And so let's talk. Let's talk because I, staring at the moon last night, was like, first of all, I saw some amazing music and I was lost with it in a good way. It was, I can't even explain this music. It was dark and riff. It was just one long metal riff of a mix of what I was told influenced by German krautrock with Judas Priest with deep riffing metal, Sabbathy mixed with psychedelic, whatever it was. I woke up with my ears ringing. Unfortunately, at the same time, the riffs, the sound of the universe that was pulsating through me, these riffs had just been here. I'm still there. It made me come out here and meet you all. And I was inspired. Jan Halverson and Johnny Newton, what's up? Who did I miss? Hopefully nobody, but you're watching. Who knows? When was the last time there was like a lunation like right at 12 o'clock midnight? Now that only works for Pacific time peeps. Okay, I got to go back to this because I need to do something in the background. That only works for Pacific time people. Like for where I come from, that womb I just come from can move through. It's Pacific time. So, I was just thinking about this and I was like, well, when was the last time anything was almost on the dot? So it's like, this chart right here is 12 a.m. Pacific, 17 seconds. 12:00, 17 seconds. So for the Pacific time people, it's pretty wild. It's pretty interesting, right? So, I got to do something here. Canada Dry. Welcome to Universe's Crossing. You know what I'm talking about later. Cosmic Supermarket. Good morning to you. Good evening from where I am. And I see your heart's afire there with that emoji. So let's talk about what's on front of the screen right now. And I want you to bear with me because from where I'm coming from today, it's been on the edge. From acquiring the device in order for me to do this and putting together devices temporarily in order for me to transmit my message and the ringing in my ears and the snap peas and the fried food that I crave. I was thinking about how luscious it is to be alone by myself. And I was happy walking home last night with the moon. And I realized by myself. And I spent a lot of time by myself. And I remembered times by myself when I didn't want to be by myself. I was in tears because I wanted to be with somebody else. We've all been there, right? You miss somebody or it didn't work out or you can't wait to see somebody. You ever think about what that all is? Whatever relationship it is, like the excitement and then the longing and the void and missing. and needing, where it almost takes you over. I was thinking about all that last night. And while I was walking and the moon above, I just had the moment that I was like, I'm alone again. It's all good. Because I know it's not always that way. And part of what I'm going to talk about today, really quick with each rising sign, is this kind of thing about alone together. Me, you, us, right? So let's bring this up. I am not, in this particular transmission, going to get dark with you or look at the ways this full moon eclipse in the next couple weeks could be, because it can go ways. Now, everyone's different with stuff like this. You got to know your chart. But today, I think there's such a supportive aspect going on in the sky with this eclipse that I am taking the real, I'll be real with you, but I'm taking the elevated route, right? And the reason why I'm saying this, if you don't know, is because here at 5 degrees is the moon in Libra, and there is the sun. That's an opposition. That's when a full moon happens. 180 degrees away from each other. This full moon here in Libra is ruled by the planet Venus. And so we will go take a look. You already know, some of you, that Venus is in its exaltation, they say, in Pisces. Nice vacation home. It's always chilling in. Likes to flow in there, supposedly. So it rules this full moon that's eclipsed. We won't forget about that. 16 degrees. Today, earlier, that's just for technical reasons, we know at 9:36 a.m. in the morning Pacific, something around there, that this Pisces, Venus and Pisces, connected, and it still is connected to this Jupiter and Taurus. This is a sextile because water and earth get together. It's an opportunistic aspect in astrology. We will make this pink that I'm about to do. You will see here how they relate to each other. That's not an aspect. This is a sextile, by the way. I'm just going to draw it. This is kind of a sextile symbol right here. That's a sextile, right? Which means, by the way, you know, we won't get to the other aspect. But anyway, they're making this relationship with each other. A sextile is 60 degrees. So we know here at 16 water, we were to count 16 up. We would go 16 here, which, by the way, is like, there's the north node. So in people who do different aspects and kind of look at something here that's just not flowing 30 degrees away from each other, but we'll go another 16. And so there we are at this aspect. We're 2 signs away, basically, and this is a sextile. This is really effing good. And if you are having a hard time with this lunation, or you think you're going to, and this week, and you're like, is everything going to happen right here at 12 o'clock midnight when the eclipse happens? By the way, some parts of the West Coast can catch this, but it's mostly in the Pacific. I'm just going to tell you, take this Venus and Pisces. Okay, and let's not play around here with what this is. Let's be real and happy about this. Okay, so you know, Venus like to harmonize. Okay, so let's just keep it simple. It likes to harmonize. In Pisces, it will harmonize forever, as in the idealism. In the idealistic way, it was like, I want to harmonize in love till the end of time, to eternity. As a matter of fact, according to a Venus and Pisces, it's always all around us, in the past, now, in the future, always. And in a sense, you could say, but me meeting you here, that we are of this. We feel this. And can't we feel this? Let's feel that together. Let's appreciate each other's love and feeling, and that all eternal you and me, eternal me, and let us be affectionate and compassionate to each other in using our five senses. So saying that earlier, damn, you look good, by the way. And I just, I'll just tell you, some people might think this is some weird, perverted, or kinky stuff, but I see beauty everywhere. I could see beauty in everyone. Some people are going to say I'm lying, but, if I'm in my Venus and Pisces costume, that's what it is. I see beauty and love in everything and everyone. And hopefully you're catching that with me right now. And hey, I'll do anything for you. I'll do anything for you. Me in my Venus and Pisces container, what do you need? I'll do anything for you. I'll don't tell anybody this, but I'll sacrifice. I'll sacrifice for you. Because I want you to be happy. I want to help you. Would you sacrifice for me? Oh, well, that's another conversation. So we want to acknowledge the boundless and the infinite of Venus and Pisces and the way it wants to love. And it is connecting here with Jupiter in Taurus, an earth sign. And here, Jupiter elevates and magnifies what I was just talking about with you. It magnifies and it makes it bigger and bigger and bigger. And whatever it touches here with Venus and Pisces. And now you could see this boundless love, eternal love, this yummy, sticky, wanting earth and water concoction that is a potion we are going to drink together as we sit along the river and drink the honey that nature provides and the honey that you provide. And we are going to celebrate the gift of who we are. Right? Doesn't that sound good? That Venus-Jupiter relationship that rules this Libra moon. Everything's perfect. Everything's perfect. Everything is perfect, right? Now, I don't know if any, you look, this person, this feels really good. They're connecting, you're connecting with what I'm saying. Can she hear what I'm thinking right now? Did I just say she? I did. If they have to be feeling this, right? Are they thinking what I'm thinking? But they don't know. They don't know where I came from. I did something like this before, and I completely believed in it. I one day found myself alone. In the pain. I had this situation before. We were together. And then one day it was gone. Are they thinking the same thing? Have they been there before? I struggled to fill the void, to have that again. Then I had remembered last night I was with the moon and I was by myself, and I realized that I completely forgot about that past story. And I didn't question being alone or why someone else was there or where is that person or persons, or I was completely Not even, I was just by myself. Well, with the moon. And everything was okay. But now you're talking to, I mean, I'm talking to myself here, but I don't know if you're thinking this, but have you been through that? I have the craving. I want to merge with you. But I don't know. I don't want to be do the story I did before where I put all of me in and then I was alone in pain. So this time, how much do I show? And how much do I say, give, be? I learned the last time that by merging completely, I never went back to me. I lost me. Is that how the story went? Technically, Venus and Jupiter here, we celebrate us. But remember to celebrate you. If there's one thing you can think about here with these eclipses, and this first one, is what it means to step from you alone place towards another situation. When you step forward from the you, me, myself alone place, why are you stepping towards? Got to figure that out and know. At least think about it. And when you do it, and let's say you, the other person, is there stepping towards, and we are stepping towards each other, what story are you walking with towards me, and what story am I walking towards with you? And is that story everything you brought with you to this moment between you and I? What do you want to have that story portray? Let's say the next chapter. Is that story being fulfilled for you? That story could be represented here in the Libra part of your chart. It seems simple, but the story of walking towards or integrating with can be complicated and complex, even if it's candy on the surface. When a eclipse, a south node eclipse happens, let's say here, we want to know the story that we're walking with and then why we're walking towards who, what, whatever. And when we're there, we want to check out why and what and can it happen? Can the story and where you want it to go and you envision yourself, me, with somebody else, some other thing that you're relating towards? This is a chance to look at that and evaluate that. And what happens during full moons, to remember, is the shadows, or things from the subconscious, come up. They're revealed. So this story of relating, let's just stick to the Libra part of your chart. Things are being revealed. Now, let's say specifically you have your Libra, Libra moon, Aries moon, something like that, cardinals. You should be really seeing this and knowing the story by now. And that story probably started to unfold last spring. But if you think about what you're walking with, why you're walking with it, and who you're walking towards, or what, and the reasons, that is what can be shown to us during an eclipse like this, be revealed within the next 2 months, 2 weeks. So that is my thoughts and experience with this that I'm sharing with you. Now it could get heavy, right? Start to really think about, let's say I want to relate with you and I have certain dreams or visions, or some people might use the word needs, qualifications. Are they being fulfilled, or can they be with you? Is it possible for you to do that? And if you can't, or feel like we can't do those things together, can we still be together? And a scenario like that actually brings up the most important thing. If you still want to be with me, and I still want to be with you, but part of my story is not you, and part of your story is not me, can I fulfill that part of the story for myself? And can you fulfill that part of the story for yourself? And maybe by fulfilling part of that story myself, might actually have to do with something else, someone else. That maybe it's not this or that. Maybe there's thises and that's, plural. That was just a scenario. And certain times, you have to create boundaries with things and with people, so on and so forth. Like in chat. Just some thoughts. And I'm not completely there yet, but we at least here on this lunation can take Venus and Jupiter, and wherever you are in your story, by yourself or with someone else, something else. And this is how I'm going to end this part before I get to talking about each rising sign, is can you at least today on this stream or tonight look at the good part of the story, which means you're going to look at yourself. And I'm going to do something with you in chat right now. And I'm not going to go through each person. I'm not going to talk about your chart and shit. I'm going to say in chart, in the chat, that You tell me the one thing about you in your chart that you like, that you love. I don't want to hear. It's not. I don't want. We know there's other stuff. So go for it. In chat, say the one thing you like. I like this about my chart, and I'll start. Okay, I'll start. This is just stupidly obvious. I like my Mercury in Gemini. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do what I do and whatever mischievous, crazy life situations in my life if I didn't have my Mercury in Gemini. There's moments where I maybe despise it for half a second, and then like, no. I'll never diss on this. Even when it's brought me into trouble, even for whatever it is, it just has something. And I love this about myself. I love that I have Mercury in Gemini. I could walk by myself, talk to myself, talk to the universe. Hell, I could talk to you or anybody else and have a flow. I really dig this. So I'm curious. In chat, tell me what, okay, Astro Hermit says the Mercury in Virgo. And Amandita says, I like my Scorpio moon. Hey, that's good. Again, not about me, but about you. And if you're not in chat, tell yourself right now, like what you like about your chart, what you like about you. Okay. So Jessica's like Capricorn, Saturn in the first, always and forever. Feel you, Black Hearts, 3 Saturn. I feel you, Saturnian person. I dig it. That's a rare piece right there. You get somebody loving their Saturn. Michelle says, I'm thankful for my Pisces sun in the 5th. Wow. Yes, that's awesome. Oh, Steffi G says, Libra North Node conjunct Spica. Very unique right there. Okay, Michelle's like, I like my Scorpio stellium. And Leanne Patterson, Jupiter in the 2nd. Oh, I hope so. That's a good one when it flows. I know what you're saying there. And Maximum Rising says, I like my Venus in Leo. I like it too. And we see you. And Mercury ascending, Jupiter in Pisces. Damn, got some Jupiter. That's good. And and here says, I like my moon opposition Pluto. That's by the way, it's a first for me to hear that, and I'm glad that you digging it. So you know what I like. I'll tell you something else that I like here in a second. Let me put this there. Okay, so there. So what else? Yeah, you have to pick one. Why not? So Nazarene, Venus and Taurus, and my Pluto on my ascendant in Libra. Whew, yeah. Pluto on my ascendant. Dig. Again, I rarely hear these things. It's good you're saying it out loud. Grateful Gale, this is how I feel about my Mercury in Sag. Yeah, right on, man. Keep sailing. Canada Dry, I like my T-square because it's gotten me to work my ass off as a Cap rising. I like the goals. Good. That is a good way to look at it. Sometimes people can't forget, they see their T-square and it's like they're 7 years old and then they figure that out. Teach their own. Rainbow Rising Freedom says, I like what I don't know about my chart. Huh. That's an interesting answer. Huh. Sunbeam Network says, I love my 12th house Sagittarius stellium. Cool. Eve Alta Travel, Saturn and Cap, squaring my sun and moon on the Aries Libra axis. That's a cardinal square, a major cardinal T-square that you have. I'm glad you're digging it, especially maybe someone who could be affected by eclipses this year and so on and so forth. Dig, man. Saturn is such a, man, doesn't get enough props. So I'm glad to see Saturn stuff in this chat. Let me catch up here. Because you have chats coming in. Jan Halverson, Venus and Sag. Cool. That's good. We like all the flavors. KP1231, my Libra moon at 3 degrees. Yeah, celebrate that here the next 24 hours, okay? Remind yourself. Roof Frog, I love for my moon in Capricorn, even for the trouble it causes sometimes. Conjunct Uranus makes this special to me too. That is a very special connection, and also a Saturn-ruled situation. CB, I like my Aquarius rising in Saturn and Pisces. Huh. That means you got Saturn in the 2nd. All right. Azor, lunar eclipse. Well, For people who happen to be born during eclipses, it's the affinity thing, you could say, right? Like you could say the affinity, but they're running on a special thing here, and when eclipses come around, like it's happening right now, next couple of weeks, no matter where it is in the chart, I think they got an extra special something. And a lot of times you can track people's lives who are born during eclipses, and you can go back to life events, certain things, and regardless of what signs they're in, and there's something there, like there's just a connection. So thank you for saying that. Jagger Water says, I like my Venus in Aries. Dig. I like it too. I like that you all are liking yourselves right now. You see why I'm doing this? Do you see what came to me at 3:30 in the morning last night? I wanted to do this. Very important to me. And so Scorpion Muse says, I love my Pluto and Scorpio. Nice. I know a lot of you Plutos and Scorpios. Grateful Gale, I adore my Neptune Sun conjunction in the 12th. That's Grateful Gale's living in another world right there, and I'm glad you can join us. And we're making the ethereal connection here through ones and zeros. And Palmer Pates, I love my moon in Virgo, or I'd float away for sure. Ray Weather, Leo, Venus, Trine, Aries, Jupiter. Damn, that's some warmth right there. That's some warmth, sweat, steam. It's going to hike. Anyway, Gemini Stallion in the 11th, Sam Grape, Thomas. You guys are going more than one. You're cheating here. Ego, I like my mystic rectangle with Neptune conjunct the MC. Huh. I wonder how you show yourself in the world. CC99 says Sun and Pluto I might like. Oh, that's a start. And indeed, blessed. I like Saggy rising nodes, Aries, Mercury, Venus, Aries. Huh. You got the eclipses are in your world too. And Levity, I like Saturn and Cancer squaring my Aries moon. I can't believe people are Saturn and liking squares. This is really good to hear, because if you go on Twitter or some other places, it's just the opposite. Sharon says, I love Sun and Moon in mutual reception. Good. When one is square, the other is tine. That's good. And House of Twigs, Jupiter in Virgo in the 5th, in the Venus degree. No wonder. That's very interesting about you. I dig it too. This is on my moon Pluto conjunction. M says, try my Venus on my ascendant. Dig. Valen Prescott, I love my 8th house Aries moon trining my 4th house Mars. Interesting. I see. So wait a second there. Aries. So you got a Sag, mutable angles, Sag at the bottom of your chart. So I'll keep going here. Nadia, I have a billion oppositions, bajillion. I need to groove with it. Are opposites really contradictions? They are, and they're also sides of the scales and a place. Just remember to walk to the middle. Also, 12th house mystery. Francis W., I love my Mars in Pisces. So glad I'm catching this. Happy Mars return to you, by the way. Remember, Mars is ruling the sun right now. So I talked about Jupiter, Venus here, which we're staying at. But remember, Mars is part of the game here in Pisces too, okay? We got Pluto and Scorpio vibe. Mildred says, my Venus in Libra. Well, we see the elegance of your mind here. Squares are challenging. Astro Hermit, right on. Thank you for doing that, and thanks for those watching. Let me go through that. I want to acknowledge each and every one of you who dared to do this, and if you were watching this, that you initially had an immediate aspect or planet or something in your chart. Remember it, okay? Because we don't get to say this enough. And the reason why I'm doing this, before I get to each quick rising sign, the reason why I'm doing this is that I think lunations like this can be difficult with the South Node. But if we are going to balance things out, and we are going to do a Mars-Venus story, Mars on one side, Venus on the other, and if, let's say, you're particularly affected by this, we have to look at what we want and what our stories are and what we can take care of ourselves, and then know what that is. And it starts, I think, a lot of times with I think initially we a lot of times go to what we don't have or what we're depleted in and what drives us crazy, right? So it's like, that's the first place. But a lot of times it's like, it's to go to like, you're going to start, right? You're going to write lists, yay or nay or whatever, right? Which I hate stuff like that. But, you know, that you go to the like, I like this about me. Look in a mirror. Instead of dissecting oneself and dissing on oneself, it's like, no, I like my moon in Aquarius. I really like it, you know, and to start from those places, because then to remind yourself to do that process and you keep going. It's not just one thing. You can make a list. You can just have this foundation. And if you'll realize, if you really let yourself do this, that you have some stability. And if you don't feel confident in certain parts of who you are, find the places that you do, and that's what you stand on, and you go from there. And then you could start to figure out stuff. Then you could start to figure out some of the things that you don't like might translate how you are relating to the world and other people, and how situations outside of you kind of touch upon not just the hard parts of you or the things that you're not happy with or that you have a void about or you don't understand or you think someone else could give you, but a lot of times can remind you of like, situations actually will reflect back towards you what you do have. And some of the things you thought you didn't have is reflected back towards you in relationship. So I like to look at it right now this way. In 2 weeks, when I talk about the other eclipse, it might be the other way around, but I'm just doing this for this reason, because I have had a lot of stuff the last 48 hours with people and messages coming at me that were really hard. And I acknowledge it. I'm not saying to ignore it. But in a situation like this with the Venus-Jupiter sextile connection, you could do this. You can celebrate your parts of you that's you. And by doing that, then you set yourself for when you are looking at something else, somebody else on the other side, you already have a basis. You already know yourself. You're good with yourself. You're good whether you're alone or not, is what I'm saying. Okay? So, you know, James Sanders jumping in saying, I jumped in late. I love my Aries rising despite its proximity to the sun, causing it to be overpowered by my Virgo stellium. Okay, that's good. I see you come to terms. You understand it, and that's good. Isaac Newt says, I like my out of balance Capricorn moon, opposed my out of balance Cancer Mars. Whoa, I see how you're living. And I like that you dig this. I like myself. M says, it's so superficial Venus on the ascendant, but she trines this moon eclipse conjunct Pluto, so I'm embracing it. Good. Oh, Azor, before I do what I'm supposed to do with people right here, I have to, Azor with the super chat. Thank you. I like to say Azur. I'm going to say Azur too. I have to get ready for my move tomorrow. But thank you for this stream, and I'll see you on the other side of this eclipse. Let's do it. You got it, my friend. And it just so happens you're moving on an eclipse. So props to you, my friend, and congratulations on everything, okay? And I know you're going to enjoy that sun. I know that's the deal. Okay, so let's do it. Let's I don't know if I could put the damn charts up on the screen when I do this. Kind of doing this off the top of my head, and I'm still going to try to pull an hour and 15-minute stream, but all right, I want to make a note here. I'm going to do something on the screen here. I need to do something to differentiate something when I add chapter markers here. So I just made a transition. There is the eclipse that happens here at 12 a.m. Pacific. It's Venus, Jupiter. I'm just concentrating on that. I don't want to talk about other aspects of the chart. I just wanted to lay down the thing of appreciating and starting with love for yourself and the thing for yourself, and then how you take that and how you bring that to whoever you connect to. And by the way, there are other people doing it too. But remember, even if you're alone, you can know that you're not alone in doing something like that. Now, what does it mean for somebody who's an Aries rising? Now, remember, if Aries rising is happening, that means for you that this eclipse is happening in your relationship house. Let's just go to my face. This eclipse is happening into your relationship house. So Aries risings, you know, there could be an influx. I will say that Aries and Libra risings and those people with sun signs, they could have some relational stuff in their life, whatever it is, that could be slowly changing, morphing, coming and going, severing. And when you have a South Node eclipse happen in your relationship house, there is a door wanting to be closed there. Now, does that mean that there's a particular relationship that is not working or is done? Could be, but also you have to think about it as in things, in order for things to change, things do need to be in a sense, closed or transitioned. And it could be that it just, the relational activities just change into another thing. But you have to know that, it's how you, it's kind of the premise of the stream, but how you in Aries rising, how you do Mars in the world, how do you do Venus, and what's on the opposite side of you? Is it a thing where it's unbalanced, more towards, you got to be real here with some of your actions or the other person's actions, and can you hear each other out? And I know Aries rising people, for the most part, because they're Mars ruled, are going to get and do and get it now. And you're going to have a lot of this in the next month. But we sometimes want to take what's opposite of us with the Libra thing and kind of contemplate all sides of things. So if you feel like you're on the more impulsive end of things and that kind of thing, you could do that. If you feel that you're not haven't been heard, or you haven't had a chance to really be you, and you're in a certain predicament, then you're stating that out loud, and you're stating that with your actions. And it's a thing again, me, you, first house, seventh house. Okay, so you want to look to the stories that you have between me and you houses, and can you catch a reoccurring story of how you do me and you? And eclipses like this can help you gain insight, especially with the full moon happening in your seventh house. Okay, so that was for my Aries risings, and I'll get to the chat when I'm done this. I want to deal with my Taurus risings next here too, because here we're dealing with the sixth house, which kind of deals with regimented activities, and that's one way to do it. But can think about, sometimes people work like the way they serve their world, or they serve themselves. So it has to do with like your daily work routines or your daily work itself. This kind of place can deal with health and illness too. So I'm going to say pay attention to that here this rest of the year, that it can bring up issues there with health and some sort of like, I don't want to get dark on the stream, but more about just how you do your regimented self-care and how you serve yourself first. And in order to serve yourself, how you balance serving yourself than serving others or serving work or whatever you do. In order to be your most optimal, you got to look at your own self-regimented care, right? And so a lot of times the sixth house will do this for my Taurus risings. That is what could be kind of shown to you during an eclipse like this, or the themes of that have been around, okay? So for my Gemini risings, I'll put this, you can't see what I'm doing, I'll put this right here. But my Gemini risings, this particular lunation is happening in your fifth house of creativity and sexuality. It's the house of pleasures, right? And so your relationship to that place and how you do it. Remember, this is a Venus thing in the end, where the full moon is happening. And it's like you could take a look at where Venus is in the sky, but you also want to take a look at where Venus is in your chart to help you understand this, because it rules your fifth house. But you're in the end, how you do your creative expression, and have you been doing it enough in your mind, or have you sacrificed in a little bit way to not doing it enough? And how do you balance your creative expression for yourself and so on and so forth? And how does it happen with other people, let's say? And is it weighted to more one side or not, right? And we want to be open. And I especially think with Venus and Jupiter having the sextile here, that the sense of like a little kid on the playground feeling and getting into that and doing that is a thing to the full moon an eclipse can expose that here. It also can feel like something is taken away when it comes to those themes, because I haven't gotten weird about and dark about this stuff, but we got to remember with these eclipses that the South Node stuff, something is pulled out. The tide goes out, the energy sucked out, and there's a purging that happens with South Node stuff. So, this is something here, if you could take it from a positive creative view, like let's just say like you have old paints in your studio, right? Your fifth house studio of creativity, and they're dry and they're all whatever, and you just keep trying to make them work and add water to them, but just go buy some new paints, basically, is one way to look at this. But that's the weirdest analogy I just gave you. So my Gemini risings, this place has to do with your house of creativity. My Cancer risings, this is cardinal angles here, and we're dealing with your sense of home. And hold on a second, because I need to do something here, because before my computer just completely disappears on me. But Cancer risings, this has to do with your sense of home and where you come from and your ancestry. It's the fourth house in the astrology land. So when we look at the chart, and in here, it's interesting because of the Libra situation, of the politics of relationships and how one balances that. Now we get into complex territory here with ancestry in the past and family and memories, because it just depends on your situation. But for a lot, it's not so cut clean and dry, and it's deep and complex. So not only could it be a relational situation you were having with a member of your family, or let's say it's your actual home, or you might be having to move. Something like a South Node eclipse here can do a shift here of a goodbye of some sort, or a transition that's happening there. I would be very careful here, with it. A lot of times, if someone is moon ruled, like a Cancer rising, and you're having situations that are relational with family, this is kind of up your alley. It's a language that you're born with. Again, look to the Venus in your own chart to help you understand this, wherever it is. Okay, so because it rules the fourth house and rules this place of home, family, lineage. But again, look to Venus to help you, like in a sense, understand how you harmonize what home means in your life. Okay, so that's a quick one to say right there. Leo risings. Hold on a second. I'm looking at the chat here because I hope you all are being good in chat. And I will keep going. So Leo risings, third house, brain function, communication, the quickness of your brain, your immediate surroundings, your neighbors, the park around the corner. If there's some sort of balancing or looking at how you do the quick firing off in your brain, and what things you can bring into your world to help harmonize your thought process is another way of looking at this. Now, whenever I talk about to do these all signs things, I cannot help but the third house but bring the biggest part of this for me, because I think it's kind of secret and it's more classical astrology, old school. This place deals with dreams. And, you might think about the way you dream itself, not just to sleep in a dream, but the way you envision and dream with your brain. And here there could be something that's being pulled out or needing to be switched up and balanced, one way or the other. So that is kind of the weird way of talking about this. Again, for anybody watching, we want to pay attention to Venus in your chart. Luckily, in this lunation, you got Venus and Pisces there to help you out with this. When I'm doing stuff like this too, you can look to where Pisces and where Taurus is in your chart is a clue to help you where the Libra part of your chart is with the lunation that's happening right now. Okay, so I'm trying to do these quick. Virgo rising. I'm picturing stuff in my head. I have a little bit of a guide here, but money, possessions, how you create possessions. The other way is representation of self-worth. But kind of like, because it's Venus ruled and dealing with the money house, it's kind of too like, got to remember with Venus too, what we deal with, what we desire with money and resources and cash here. And so you kind of have to figure this out in the weirdest ways here. I didn't do this for all the signs because I'll do another video down the line for the other eclipse 2 weeks from now. But basically, if you think about the way resources and money have been in your life, and you notice that something's off kilter here, then something needs to go. It either maybe has to do with disciplinary mode of how you take care of your resources, or who you're relating to, who you tied into in resources or money, and is there something that you need to work out there with that situation or with that person. But ultimately, remembering your own part in the creation of resources, and again, I can't go farther on that because I don't know one's own personal situation. But again, it's the relational activity. So like, how are you relating to what money means to you, what the creation of resources? And if there's anybody else involved, institution or whatever else, how you're maneuvering that. And I'm not going to tell you what to do, but these are the types of themes that comes up. Okay. So, all right. So let's get to Libra rising. And this is happening. It could be an appearance change for you, like literally. I want to concentrate on something very simple with the first house, and it just deals with self and vitality and energy. And this is where I'm actually going to be a little bit more cautious. And I'm going to tell you to be cautious because let's say you got something close to the degree here, you got to actually be careful of your energy getting sucked out of you. Like, South Node will purge, the dragon's tail. So it'll want to push out, excrete out. You could look at it certain ways, right? But if you feel lethargic, if your energy's off, if you feel like you've been spending a lot of time and energy as a Venus ruled person trying to harmonize yourself or a situation outside of you and it's just not going anywhere, and you need to gauge that. You need to maybe take a break and let off the gas of harmonization. It could be that way, or it actually could be your actual energy levels, your vitality. I've seen people will have major transits through the first, like a South Node thing, get haircuts, like Taurus rising or Libra risings actually, do appearance changes, clothing changes, all that type of stuff. But you have to be careful. I would say to coast through here the next month when it came to certain major stuff and try to gauge where your energy is or the replenishment of your energy. This is the only sign I'm going to say here out of all this that somewhat is positive, but mostly like I'm being cautious about. I'm just going to be real. It's just, your blood flow in your body. I'm not a doctor, but your blood flow in your body and how you are in. Remember, the eastern part of the chart, the risings, how you're rising into the world. So gauging how you're doing that. Is it flowing the way it should be? If not, take a break. Take a break because a lot's going to happen in the next month and a half with these eclipses and stuff, and just try to take it easy. That's all I'm going to say. Scorpio rising. I almost wanted to crack a joke, but I'm not going to. 12th house things, Scorpio rising. Listen. Shed a tear. Be real as much as you can about afflictions that you have. If possible, move through the afflictions. See it for what it is first. You pinpoint as a Scorpio rising on it, but we don't want to lose ourselves on it, as in the obsession of a Mars ruled sign. But we do want to look at this affliction, this possible state or things that you have not been able to grasp, and you started as to with these eclipses. This is 12th house stuff I'm talking about. And can you take it to a higher level, which I know you can, right? But again, you're Mars ruled. And so when we're dealing with Venus ruled situations, you got to see where your relationship is to that. And especially with the 12th house, it can deal with, isolation and exile and debt, And at the same time, you have to see where you're at with that. But I'm looking more on a deeper level with this. It's just like, what can you push out? You're really good at situations when you finally come to a place of excretion and purging that you have an affinity for this. It's just how you do it. But at first you need to look, I think a South Node eclipse like this and it's Libra full moons, your relationship to those kinds of things in your world, and it's very private, right? Very private. Move through. if you need to have an object that represents it, I want you to find something in your house that you take to the garbage, or that you go, I was going to say recycle. No, just take it to the garbage. Okay. It's a weird way of just doing what I just did. I'll get to chat, and then I'm going to wrap things up. I can't believe the way I'm doing the stream today. It was completely, anyway. My Sag risings. Everything's always good, isn't it? My Sag risings. Listen, who's got your back? I think out of this interesting lunation, that to have an 11th house story that's Venus ruled, it's Libra, to deal with like who has your back and who supports, your potential triumph in the world, or your potential celebrations in the world, right? When a lot of times you're going to hear a thing of your hopes and wishes and dreams in the 11th house is like, well, who's there with you, right? And is it you thought they were there with you and they're not? Something of those in that realm gets taken away by the South Node eclipse. But I'm not going to think too much on the taking away or purging part. In your instance, it could be where there has to be conversations or some sort of relational activities that have to do with the community and the groups of people that support your hopes, wishes, and dreams. But it's also being real about your own place in it too, right? So it's not just on the other side you're gauging, but it's also like, where do you stand and what's your story with this? And again, we're dealing with Libra and the scales here. It's always the tendency, I think, for all of this. You could pick any of the rising signs that we do to always look on the other side. And we can't help but do that. It's kind of how I started this stream. I was talking about coming through the long tunnel of wanting in the womb and to wanting to be engaged with someone else as a human being. So we can't forget the other human being we're relating to, but we have to, what you have the most control over is yourself, and looking at yourself of how you're in the relating game in your 11th house, right? So, again, who are the people who are there to have your back? And if you feel like some of it's not what you thought, or they were going to be there, some conversations maybe need to happen, or some kind of thing where it's like, this is what I need, or my story. What about you? What can you do? Are you there in line with this? Did things change? That kind of relational thing. But first we start with your own way and own role in that situation when it comes to other people, groups, so on and so forth, patrons. Okay, that's 11th house stuff. Blindly, I won't say. Capricorn risings, my Saturnian freaks. You guys aren't boring, by the way. I know secretly you guys are very actually interesting, fascinating people. People think you're boring. I don't think you're boring. You're going to really like this, right? Because we're dealing with your career part of your chart, which is always a thing. And I actually probably think since last spring, and then when we had the eclipses and then when we did the eclipses in the fall, I've seen a lot of Capricorn risings have major changes in how they present themselves to the world, what they're the authority on, what their job is, what their career. I've seen promotions, I've seen firings, transitions happening there, and this is completely still going on. Now, mind you, if you're closer to, you have stuff at 5 degrees, more closer to the eclipse degrees 5, and let's say 19 degrees Aries, 19 degrees Cardinal, then you're really going to see this. But I think there's a continuation story that's been happening here. It's not just this week. But I think, again, it's like how what's your reputation built on, right? And in the career sphere, we're always dealing with the relationship or the politics of relationships there. It's just wild, right? Constant, you're working in a company, you're working with other people, sometimes it flows or not. There's like game, backstabbing, there's all that kind of stuff. And then there's the other stuff of this, like, are you being seen and recognized for what you're doing in your job? But again, it's a thing I think here with a South Node eclipse here that one has to recognize their own place in this. You're not getting recognized, or you're not getting the reputation you want, you're not getting the pay that you want, your job or whatever, or you are working somewhere and there's something else that you really want to do that has nothing to do with that. This is what you got to look at. You got to look at your story, what you brought to this point, and what you, let's say, when it comes to career relational angle with other people, are they with you or not? And these are the types of things that eclipses show. They're going to expose things like that. Again, when it deals with control, you can only control what you do here inherently, what you have the most control over. And I know you're Saturnian ruled, and there's always stories with control here with Saturn or Capricorn risings. So again, we're dealing with the place that deals with achievements, your reputation, your career, and when the cardinal signs that I've talked about here, when I started with Aries and then we went, Cancer, Libra, and in Capricorn, I think there's a lot more involved here. And I really want to stick to the Jupiter-Venus vibe that I've had today with the sextile that's happening, but I got to be a little bit more harder. I got to be a little bit more darker because it's hitting the angles of your chart. So it's not just happening. If you're cardinal rising, stuff like this where the eclipses, they're hitting the 4 parts of your chart, your first, 4th, 7th, and 10th. So there's a little bit more involved for you all. And so, again, start with this, and I'll start and end with this. Gauge how hard you are on yourself, okay? So gauge, looking at your let's say we're going to talk about your career, your reputation, and your social status and your fame stuff, right? Like, are you unhappy with things or whatever? Just take a look at how you talk to yourself about this stuff and start there. And a good place to start is the exercise that I had earlier. I like pick some one good thing. Start like what you like about your career, how you do your job, or what your ambitions are. Okay, you got a little extra long one there. I did right there. Okay, let me check on chat. I just saw some chat. People think we're boring in chat with the popcorn. It's good to have a good sense of humor there. All right, where am I? Aquarius rising. Not only you got Pluto in your first, you just went through a bunch of Aquarius transits, but remember, this in a sense, it sort of harmonizes because you're an air sign. So when we have some things that happen in air signs, they harmonize, they trine, right? So again, this happens with the higher level, your philosophical thinking, your code, right? And, all I will say to something like this is, possibly being a Saturn-ruled person that you are, that there possibly could be a situation here with mentorship or losing a mentor. I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm just channeling a little bit. That's really broad to say. But again, the simple way of thinking with ninth house things is called travel and higher truth, and how one acquires higher truth through classes, workshops, through all types of ways of seeking one's philosophical way of being, how you stand as an Aquarius rising, right? So again, I don't think too hard in your case with this particular eclipse, but you just have to kind of catch and gauge how you stand in relation to that house and to anything that's represented there with people and situations, right? And seeing what is unbalanced there and what needs to be how to rebalance. Is a lot of times you're letting go of something with a south node. So for me, to keep it really simple, I just think about what your spiritual path is, right? What that is, and kind of take a look at that and what story you're bringing to this point, to the spiritual path that you're on. So there's that. And then we're going to get to the last one. Pisces rising. Got a lot of activity there. You got Jupiter. You're having your Venus return right now. You're in your first house. You got Mars and Pisces there, right? It's a lot going on. You got Jupiter coming from the Taurus house. It's blessing you this particular week. Mind you, I've been talking this whole time. We're talking about Venus Jupiter today. There's going to be Venus Uranus later in the week. A whole nother something else. So, acknowledge that first and foremost. So we're going to do that. But, this 8th house where Libra is in your chart, I think it's more of a darker, more intimate processing type of place. There is the tie-up with other people's resources and money and stuff. There could be a loss there, possibly. I don't think too much about that because the relationship right now with Venus and Pisces, like, let's say Venus was in Aries in this particular eclipse, and Venus ruling, the transiting Venus ruling your 8th house, I could see loss there, like of cash or some sort of thing. But for the most part, I don't feel too weird about it because of the relationship with stuff in Earth right now. So again, but we want to take a look at it, and we want to take a look at your place and how you walk through shadows and how you encounter fears in your world and your relationship to fear. That's more of the deeper part of it. But the other thing has to do with, resources and situations that are created with other people and how you're tied into something like that. That's another theme. The other cool thing about the 8th house is there is a certain something there that has a way of walking through shadow and doing shadow work. And I'm a person who looks at shadow work as important. I don't run away from it, even if I'm in fear of it, because it's needed. It's who we are. And I don't look at shadows like it's bad. It's good. It's all good. I look at shadows good. So there could be something here that relates to that. And by transiting Venus in Pisces right now, there is a way to walk through the shadow and through the fear. And if it's a type of thing where something it has to be let go of, that there can take the philosophy of how I talked about Venus and Pisces earlier. Okay, and it's just looking at the infiniteness of love and the all-encompassing part of it and the trust in that things always do change. This is what Pisces gives us, by the way. It gives us this innate knowing of this when they're balanced, right? So that's my deal. And, saying that, I want to do something here because, it's interesting. If we go by the days, and here is I'll do the transits now. Okay, if we go by the days, we're first of all going to acknowledge something here. We have Mars, Saturn, Venus, Neptune. We just had Moon and Mercury go through. So we got, for a little bit here, we got 4 major bodies in the planet in Pisces, even during the Aries birthdays and during these eclipses. So this is your way. Now, we're going to point out the Earth here, and we're going to basically go, but I'm going to skip. This is the day, okay? We're just going to go. We're going to go to April 1st. Okay? Am I doing this right? Oh, sorry. No, stop, Nicholas. Stop. Here's April 1st. By the way, I had to do something earlier in chat that I didn't like to do. Here's April 1st. It's the day Mercury goes retrograde. Okay? Stations right here. But we're in between eclipses here. We got to remember, there's Venus and Mars. They, in a sense, are ruling a lot of the eclipse time on our way to the April 8th eclipse. Okay, so let's go to the April 8th eclipse, and then you'll see the difference here, right? So we'll go right here. This is 2 weeks later from today, tonight, tomorrow. I'm still trying to get to Austin. Hopefully I can pull a trip off there. But you could see the difference here of the shift that happens, because when this next eclipse happens, Venus is in Aries. That's why a lot of people are talking a little bit harsher about this one, because Venus leaves Pisces, right? And so there's a change up here and a retrograde Mercury. So I'm not saying things are bad. I'm going to have a video on this because I have a lot of opinions about this particular eclipse. I think it is a little bit more intense. So, but we just want to make the note, and let's make the note when it changes, when Venus changes. It's right here on the, it's right here on April 4th, where there's a 29-degree Venus, and that just tells you right here, we had a Venus-Neptune conjunction that's going to happen. This is all next week, by the way, more than a week from now. But we're gauging this. We're doing a lot of Venus in Pisces, but then as soon as it kicks in, as soon as it goes into Aries on the 5th, we're in between, we're kind of getting close to the next eclipse. I just think the complete vibe changes. I think we see a lot come from this current area, the eclipse-wise, really come into play here, and I think it's just a little bit more caustic. Okay, so that's my opinion on things. And you could see in this particular chart, before I look at the chat and say goodbye to you all, that, you see this particular day and the next day and a half with the moon's going to move through. And I posted this on my Instagram stories a while back, that this particular day, and let's go actually by the hour, I will show you. We're going to pretty much look at when the moon, I'm off my buttons today. Does that make sense what I just said? Here, my program is not happy. 2, 3. We'll just start there, okay? So here, this is April 5th in the morning, Pacific time. We have the ingress of the moon in Pisces right here, right? Basically, in 3 days, it's going to touch every single planet here. It's going to touch Mars, Saturn, Neptune. It's going to then, do that, get out of Pisces, do Venus, do the node, Sun, Chiron, Mercury. And this is all like through the eclipse of April 8th, and then right after, then it's done. So we're dealing with an interesting set of days. It takes the moon roughly 2.5 days to go through a sign, kind of ish. So we're dealing with 5 days basically of the moon touching everything. And I think this is intense stuff right here. That to me is a big deal. Okay. So I just wanted to make a note of that for you to make a note. There'll be other videos. Okay. Let me see what the hell's going on in chat. I see people blabbing. And that's it. I am fried. My brain is fried, and I want to make a note of that. I am happy I was able to do something like this. I have to make chapter markers for the rising signs. It's not the best thing that I've done, but it's the thing that I did. It's the thing that I did. I purposely am not looking at how many people are watching the stream. Now I just did. Thank you for being here. All right. Listen. Some of you book eclipse readings with me because I put this special back up the other day. You can do this. The eclipses don't just happen here today and 2 weeks from now. There's going to be more eclipses in 6 months from now from Aries, Libra. If you feel called to that, you want some more insight on stuff like this, because when I do these special eclipse readings, I'm going to the past. I'm looking to the last times this happened, and they did happen at the same degrees, and I'm looking forward, and I'm also looking at how Venus and Mars is playing out in your chart natally, but with the transits, and if it's specifically connecting to parts of your chart, that's how you can really put together eclipse work. Some people are not going to be affected by this. Some people will. If you know that you are and you're looking for some insight, you know where to go. You can hit me up. I will put my schedule, my thing. I got it. It's a cheapo special. I don't know what I did. I'm going to drop it in chat. Is this the right thing? I'll drop this. I'll do it like this. You can do it, okay? I got some spaces here in the next week and a half. I don't know what's happening for the eclipse in my world. I could be going somewhere, which means I will be out of commission for a week. I don't know until the next couple days. So there's that in the chat. Now, Dolly's, I live South Austin. I hope to see you. Well, I hope I can make it there. There's a chance if I do it. And I got some good people over there. Good people. And if I am going to be there, actually, I'm probably going to be there for more than a couple days, because the only way to get in, the ticket prices are so overbooked and expensive. So in order for me to do this, they're going to be there for a little bit more if it works out. And if I am, I'm going to let people know, because I'm down to do face-to-face readings when I'm there, at least 1 or 2, to do something like that, okay? Thanks for listening to me talk and ramble today. It was a lot of rambling, a lot of Nicholas. And I think I did okay with the rising signs, to be quick about it, right? I'm looking through chat, and I see what's going on here. I'm not the only one who's been blabbing. You're welcome, Dolly Nelson. Thank you. And Grateful Gale, I appreciate you also. And Mercury Ascending says, thank you, great gathering. Thank you for being here. And I want to thank all of you for doing such a good job earlier of pointing out what you like, one thing you like about your chart. And I didn't know how this was going to go. And the fact that I saw stuff that on paper is caustic that people liked means they've done a lot of, they've understood why a square, a certain part of their chart has been difficult. And it could be for the rest of one's life, but how one comes to terms and deals with things. And this is the deal, my philosophy with astrology, right? Is can we come to terms with reality? in situations, and then at least acknowledge them. And maybe we can't do nothing and can't change, but we can acknowledge. And that is a big part of things, of growth and vision and of one's connection to self. Can you, during eclipse season or this thing, see your place in it all, right? And see where you stand. And a lot of times, I haven't mentioned this word, but it's a Libra word, and it's diplomacy. And so can one go through the motions of diplomacy, not saying that there actually is going to be diplomacy, but to go through those motions is pretty much a lot of what an illumination like this can expose, if you're hit by this one specifically, is that. But we have to remember that before we go to negotiate, or what diplomacy is, a lot of us are preparing in the background before we go sit at the table across from each other. And that what needs to happen first. And to be as clear as possible with that. So you're, in a sense, sitting across from yourself first to understand where you stand and what it is, and to get some sort of wrap your brain around it all before you walk into the situation, person, whatever it is, if you're affected by this, before you even try to do the diplomatic thing. But again, it could be weird here with South Node eclipses here, because you could have the hope and the certain thing that, let's say, you want or need or to be fulfilled, but it might not be there, and you might not get it. And so one has to make the call on, like, well, is this what I really want and need? And if it is, of what one's desires, and then how does one fulfill that? And a lot of times, can one do that for one's own self, by themselves? It's the reason why I was weird in the beginning of the stream with my weird talking about relational stuff, right? And then it steps into the realm of other people, other worlds, other situations. But we got to see where you're at first, And so that's the way I look at diplomacy, right? And so you got to line stuff up. And even in diplomacy, when you do get to a place, and let's say it's outside of you, then there's the actual negotiation of things. And it's like, it's the other person, the other situation of what they want and need. And you see, then, we know how interesting and fundamental but complex relationships are, right? And so that's pretty much the story here with Mars, Venus, and this story with Aries, Libra is one taking care of themselves and they're putting themselves first, and then there's how it matches up outside of them, on and on and on. So yeah, that's it. I'm good. I think I'm done. I will go out. In a way, I have to chapter mark this. I went way too long, as always. I'm in a new space temporarily here, so it's really weird for me to stream because I'm a little discombobulated with stuff, but I had a talk with myself last night. And I was like, oh, you got this. It's never going to be perfect. Got to put yourself out there. Look at the moon. I see you, Libra moon. I like being alone. At the same time, I'm not alone. For all of you that come, when you came from your world today and I came from my world, the way I started this stream, it's good to see you. And I really like who you are and what you bring and your uniqueness and your story. Okay? So I hope you dug my story today and my uniqueness and my inspiration fueled by dark metal band last night with a fog machine that completely took over the room. And these were my friends playing. And when they turned the fog machine on it brought me back to memories with my friends in the past and the crazy stuff that we've done on stage. And they did it for the metal, for the rock, for it all. And I laughed out loud and I screamed out loud in that music. It was so effing loud and deep and dark. Good job, you guys, if any of you are watching. And I was like, it was after all that where I felt it. Again, reminded my story, where I come from. A lot of you don't know my past stories, and I have different lives, a whole other thing. And it all converged. And so walking home, and I was staring at the moon, I'm like, I'm going to do a stream. And I don't have a good internet. And can I get internet in 12 hours? And I did. And can I do this? And can I do that? And can I connect? Right? Can I connect? And I did. And we did. So just so you know, what all this came from, it came from the bowels of dark metal. So there you go. That's my deal. Good to see you all. Thank you. Tamayori, you are welcome. Dora Destroy, you're there. And Ray Weather says, I'm channeling Mr. Rogers. Yes, I need a cashmere button sweater. And you're welcome, Nadia. And Amandita, I love being alone. I also love moments of togetherness. Dig it. And thank you for this full moon get together, Nicholas. You are welcome. Yeah, we are 5.5 hours away. See you on the other side, okay? Take care of yourselves. For those of you, you know what to do. If you can hit me up, it's fine. I'll work with you. I have to check emails. I got a lot of work to do. And on my next video or stream that I'm going to do, I'm going to talk about a couple other things that I can maybe talk about and reveal a little bit that I'm psyched about, okay? Let's go out with some weirdness, all right? And I want to see who the hell is still here. All right, good. Okay, I always do this. For those who aren't in the chat, glad you made it. For those who know me, thanks for dealing with me, okay? And my need to do what I got to do alone. That's almost a shout out to my mom. But other people. So I'm in transition, okay? And I'm good. I'm really good. And I've had a wild month, and I'm feeling it. Like, I'm feeling it right now in a good way. And I got a lot to do. But for those of you out there I know who hit me up or who are like personal in my life, like family stuff, I just want to say thank you for everything, right? And for being there. And we're going to talk, okay? I'm probably hopefully get to it this week. So saying that, Darlene, deepest gratitude to you in chat, so on and so forth. Okay, I need to get weird. I need to end this thing weird because all right, somebody asked earlier. There you go. There's a glimpse of that little device that is so unpredictable and so weird that I have to be careful and I'll blow your ears out when I do this. When I do this. When I do it. The transmissions through space. Distortion. Eclipse is coming. Is there anybody out there? I found you. Take it easy, okay? Remember what the There we go. Remember with eclipses and stuff here, man, this stuff can really drain you. It can really put you out. So, you know, if you're sensitive to this kind of stuff, man, you just lay low if you can, okay? And, you know, take care of yourself. We got a long haul here. We got 2 eclipses in the next month. We got Mercury retrograde, and we got a story and then after all that, we got a major Jupiter-Uranus thing that's going to happen. So a lot of influx of energy. And if you're one of these people who are, you know, get affected by stuff like this, you know what to do to replenish yourself. In order, you got to take care of that first before then you do the relational stuff, right? So, just a reminder. Just a reminder. Just a reminder. Back into the pink portal for me. Aphrodite, Venus, wherever you are, I know in that Venus and Pisces place that you are looking out for us. That in shadow and light is beauty all the way around. And it is in the end, Venus and Pisces, where it is about divine love. See you later.